Hey guys, it's Trevor St. John Gilbert with my good friend Tamsin Evans. We are back for day 3. For those of you who are just now joining us on this journey, we've been going through Tamsin's book, Take Your Place, taking a look at a few different chapters from the book. And to give you a quick recap, so the first day we talked about our identities. We talked about how we are each uniquely made, that God sees us, that He knows us, that He loves us. Yesterday we talked about embracing vulnerability. We talked about how shame can often keep us from stepping into the fullness that God has for us. And today we're going to be talking about the title of the book, Take Your Place. How do you actually take your place? And what I love about that title is it's interesting, this word take. It's might be a little aggressive even. I'm going to take that from you. I'm going to take my place. But it's interesting that it's not accidentally wander into your place, or it's not fall into your place, or anything like that. But it's very active, and it reminds me of a story from the Bible where Joshua is getting ready to lead the Israelites into this promised land, this place where God has promised, hey, this is your place. This is literally your place. I have set this aside for you. But there were some obstacles in the way, and there's some fear. Joshua was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can take this place. And God encourages him and says to be strong and courageous, and to go for it. And so Joshua has to fight past a good amount of fear and to lead these people in order for them to take their place. It wasn't just like a show up and, hey, everything's fine, you don't have to worry about it. But there was a pushing past that I think is important for us all. We're all faced with situations like that when we're going to take our place of, there might be some fear associated with that. So Tamsin, I know you've got a story to share as well about a time when you had to take your place in your own life.
Yeah. I think this is what we've been talking over the last sort of 3 days, like the fact that God has got and working in an incredible way where you're at, the situation that you're in. He's not forgotten you. He sees you. He knows you. You're known exactly where you are. And there's audacious plans that he has for your life. And we talked about Moses on the first day, and other people like Gideon and Jeremiah who like were worried about, who am I? I'm only weak, or like, how can you even do anything through me? And God used in incredible ways, and God's going to use you in incredible ways. So when I was actually writing this book, Take Your Place, a very unexpected thing happened, because I think the process of taking our place, that happens over and over and over again. It's not like we just do it. It's like it's a daily choice, and God is always calling us into more. Like, there's always more with him, which is just the most amazing thing. So it's not like the journey is not a destination, it's a journey. So we're getting to different points along the way. And it was funny, as I was finishing writing this, as the book was with the publishers, and the manuscript was due in the November. When I first had that agreement, I had absolutely no idea that I would be moving to New York. It was the last thing I ever expected. At that point, I lived in Liverpool. Anyone from Liverpool, woo! And I did not expect that God was ever going to bring us out to New York. I did not want to live in New York. I'd actually been to Times Square and said, great, been here, done that, don't ever need to come back, which is super funny because our office is in the heart of Times Square now. So obviously not right now because we're stuck in our homes, but normally that's where we would be every single day, and we would be filming this from, except for the fact that we wouldn't be filming it if we were there, because we wouldn't be in the situation anyway. This whole other thing. So as I kind of wrote the last chapter of this, because I kind of held the last chapter back, and as I wrote it, we were actually in the process at that point to move very, very fast to moving to New York. And so when you read the last chapter of this book, I'm basically saying, like, this is not just some little thing where I'm saying, take your place, and I'm saying it from my comfortable sofa, because at that point, we'd literally just locked up our house. We'd shipped all our stuff to go over to New York. We had no idea where we were going to live. We didn't even have like a place set. And we were moving, me and my husband with our 2 children, like across the Atlantic Ocean to go to this new place where we didn't really know anybody. It was like a completely new thing. And God spoke to me so much in that time, like about Abraham. And it talks about Abraham in Genesis, and also in Hebrews as like one of the heroes of the faith. but that he went not knowing where he was going. Like God told him to go. He said, leave your home, leave your country and go. And it says Abraham went and he didn't know where he was going. And so much of the journey of taking our place and stepping into what God has for us often is so unknown. Like we have to take steps of faith. That's why it's faith, because we don't actually know what it's going to look like, into what we don't quite know how it's going to work. But trust that as we hear God and as he speaks, that he comes and he meets us like in the most amazing way. And so for us, like there were so many promises that God had given us, but there was a massive journey ahead of us into more than we could have asked or imagined. And I'm so thankful that even though it was super scary, and believe me, it was super scary, like getting on that plane, making that decision, leaving our family and friends behind, like even from an organization perspective, like Pure had been running for 10 years in the UK, and then we were literally making that leap, and I didn't know what the future was going to look like. But God always does way more than we can ask or imagine. And actually, the testimony of saying yes to him and stepping into that is better than anything I could have ever expected or imagined. So just want to encourage you, like, this is a step out of your comfort zone. It's a step out of what you might like feel is all tracked out neatly, but lean into God. Ask him, God, what are you saying? What are you asking me to do right now? What does that look like? That might, right now, like obviously we can't move countries at the moment or go anywhere, but it might be like, be calling somebody, or it might be sort of stepping out in some other way. But if it doesn't feel comfortable, if it feels scary, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Actually, often that thrill, that excitement, that not knowing, God's really working in that. And do read Genesis, read about Abraham's story, because it's like a great example of how God spoke to him. God said, look up at the stars, so many will your descendants be. This is a promise I have for your life. This is what I'm going to do. And how he walked through that in the face of impossibility. His impossibility was he couldn't even have a child. And God was telling him he was going to be the father of many nations. And often the promises that God gives us, there's this juxtaposition with this seems completely impossible. And I think God loves to do that, because it's like, there's absolutely no way this can happen, God. And you show up and you do it. And he loves that, because we need God to show up and do what only he can do. We don't want it to be about what we can do. And so our prayer for you is that God would just meet you, that you would be inspired just to run the journey that he has for you and take your place into all that he's made you for. We need you. The world needs you to be all that God created you to be on this earth, because you have a unique part and flavor and place to take like nobody else. And we've got another creative session today for you to explore that with another of our team, for you to send us back feedback. We're excited to hear from you, and we are praying for you. Maybe Trevor.
Hi, my name is Philip Atmore. I am a professional Broadway actor, singer, dancer, and writer, and I have written a piece for you today to show you how I have taken my place in the world. Why can't I just be? Why must I fit in some category? You know, the phrase to be is the simplest of verbs. After to be, there are no blanks that must be filled with words. I'll break it down for you, the way my father did for me. Back when I was 3 and merely bouncing on his knee, could barely talk, but nonetheless to conjugate this verb is key. So here it is, the conjugation of the verb to be. I am, period. You are, period. He, she, or it is, period. Sentence is complete, and not an adjective in sight. Still, I feel pressure to compete with all your labeling, which you might as well quit at. All your boxes, dividing tabs, notebooks for your human lab experiments, Post-its, envelopes, and masking tape to silence hope. I'm done. Your reign of bondage in my life is over. I can take no more. But you can take all those supplies straight to the Container Store. I am, you are, he, she, or it is, period. Oh, and if you think this song is just about me, The fact that I can be, along with you, it, he, or she, is proof that there's a possibility that we can all just be. We can all break free from rigid confines of society and step into the lives we've been designed to live freely. It's interesting how God reveals himself in words of art, especially in the simplest of forms, a grammar chart. It's clear as day that I am is the head of this word key. You, he, she, it are nouns that bound together form we. We, as in more than one and stronger than just me. For there simply cannot be a me without a we. And can it be that we've been called to do more than just be? If this phrase, to be, means to merely exist, then we must resist complacency and then insist that maybe he, the great I am, has scribbled us into his plan to reach the unreachable. And you can say that I'm naive, but rest assured that I believe by faith that God is capable of doing the impossible through us, his indispensable stewards, if we're available for his incomprehensible, intense, and unpredictable events that lie ahead to save a multitude of lives. Don't tell me that we, a people with divine potential, cannot change the world. So, I surmise, if we are wise, that we will step outside of the state of just being and move. So move. Trust the talents you've been given to succeed. Move because somebody somewhere is in dire need. Move and let love be your motivation to inspire. Move and may your cause spread like a wildfire. Just move. And witness captives run free. Move until you can't move anymore, and then you'll see that we were all created to be, but we must all choose to move.
Hey everyone, so day 3, it's been the last session, and it's been so encouraging to hear from Tasmin and Trevor and from Philip about the ways in which God uses us to impact the world, stepping out in faith, using our gifts and talents to take our place. So we want you to know that even though today is the last session, this doesn't have to be the end. So once again, we've got another PDF resource for you. If you go check out in the description box down here, there's a link to the Spring Harvest website where you can download that resource with all the key points from the teaching, and then loads of extra activities for you to do at home. So we'd love you to go check that out. Maybe you could do some of those things at home, and then share with us what you're up to. So maybe you want to send us an email at info@purecreativearts.org, or post something on social media, maybe a photo or a video, and tag us in it. All the info's on that resource that you need to get involved. And then if you're thinking it's the end of the sessions, but I'm really sad, I really want to know more, I want to keep exploring this area, then we would really encourage you to get a hold of Tamsin's book, Take Your Place. There are some suggestions on that resource of where you can get it, and that book is filled full of more stories and examples and encouraging ways in which you can be inspired to take your place. If you want as well, we even have a discussion guide, so maybe you're thinking I'd love to read it with some other people. You could maybe get together with some friends over a WhatsApp chat or a FaceTime or Skype or whatever it is you're using to stay in touch right now, and maybe read a few chapters a week and then use our discussion guide to kind of ask each other questions and explore this further. So if that's something you're interested in, get in touch with us. We can send you that resource as well so you can use it alongside reading the book. And then lastly, we have a feedback form online if you want to reach out with us and either maybe just to connect with us. You may be thinking you'd love to connect with our team. We normally, when schools are open, we love bringing our creative team into schools to do productions and workshops. And so maybe if that's something you'd love to happen in your school, reach out to us. We would love to come and see you. Or maybe in your church, We also have loads of mentoring programs that we'd love to facilitate you guys with. So please do get in contact with us. Check out that PDF resource because all the info is on there. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to stay in touch. And in the meantime, we can't wait to hear from you. We are praying for you. We believe in you. And we can't wait to see you soon. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.